Well, hello. Welcome to a new diary reading. Today I am bringing out another mystery diary. I do have a last name and some initials. It was written by a D.F. Green, and she was documenting her holiday in Kenya in June 1955. I have yet to figure out who D.F. Green is. I did a little searching around on Ancestry, and it could be Doris, it could be Doreen. I'm not totally sure how to move forward. I'm hoping maybe some other clues kind of come to light as I read, but I don't know if anyone out there knows a D.F. Green who went to Kenya in 1955. I believe she lived somewhere around London. She was English. But I think that's all I really know. I don't know how old she was. I don't know who she was visiting, except his name was John. It didn't seem to be romantic. Maybe a family friend. I don't know. We will perhaps discover more as I read along. I made notes of names and everything, and I did make contact with someone related to a family that she visited, because I had enough names there, but I don't know if they will be able to help me figure out who she is. So, mystery diary, let's see. The last mystery diary I just went through, I managed to solve before finishing my readings, so that was a nice little celebration, a little accomplishment there. But this one, we shall see. This reading, I don't know how long this will take me. There are some pictures in it at the back, so we'll share those at the end. I'm not sure how long I will read today because I'm a little tired. The last reading I just did took quite some time. So we shall see what I get through. Before I begin, because I feel like I'm going to forget this, how this works, if you're new here, is I have a diary collection, and I read the first part publicly on YouTube to get it out there and get you intrigued enough to come follow along. And I post the rest of them on my Buy Me a Coffee. I ask $3 or $5 membership. It helps me pay for the diaries to rescue them. I want to rescue as many as I can. I have a couple goals in mind for specific projects with the diaries to collect from certain areas of the world, US, France, UK. I just want to collect, I want to protect as many as I can. However, I also want to be able to return them to their families. I want to find out who she was, if any of her family is still alive, and if they're interested in having this back in their possession. Because I feel like they belong with the families, they don't belong with me except for safekeeping. So I have returned a couple so far in the past few years that I've been doing this, but there are a lot I'm still working on. But I like to tell the family, this is what I paid for it, this is how much shipping is, I have earned a certain amount through my Buy Me a Coffee, so you don't have to give me money towards it, but if you'd like to, it's welcome. So it's just kind of open in case, they can't afford to pay for a diary. Sometimes they can get expensive. And shipping from here, I'm in the Netherlands, silly expensive back to the US. So by doing the Buy Me a Coffee, I get to share these historic stories with people who are legitimately interested, keep a bit of privacy for the ladies and gentlemen who wrote in the diaries. Just keep it just a smaller, safer little group over there, and I'm not crowding YouTube with all these videos. And then I raise a bit of money for returning them. So if you like any of the diary readings that I have on my YouTube, you can follow along with the rest of them on my Buy Me a Coffee, and the link will be in the description below. So let's get started. I usually start with a little bit about what was going on that year. Usually what interests me or what I think is relevant to the author. Since she's in Africa, not a lot was really relevant in the website I usually go to for my information. Wrote down a couple things. honestly not much interest me that year. But so a couple things that happened. Apparently Israel assaulted Gaza a couple times that year. So not much new there. April 15th, Ray Kroc opened the first McDonald's fast food restaurant in Illinois. So that doesn't affect her, but I thought that was interesting. And July 11th also doesn't affect her because she's British. Congress authorizes all U.S. currency to say, "In God we trust." So just for those of you who think this was like always on there, it was not. I thought this was interesting. August 19th, Winds Radio in New York City announced it will not play copy white cover versions of R&B records. So the DJs play Fats Domino's "Ain't That a Shame" instead of Pat Boone's. It's excellent. This kind of applies to her. September 22nd, commercial television begins in the UK with the launch of iTV. Soon airs the first advert on UK TV for Gibbs SR toothpaste. So, first ad, toothpaste. September 30th, American actor and cultural icon James Dean is killed in a car crash, aged 24. So this next one I just really find personally interesting. I knew about this before, I just didn't know that this is the year it premiered. October 2nd, Alfred Hitchcock Presents premieres on CBS television in the US, and the first episode was called Revenge. And I have a link to that episode, and I will share that in the details in the description below. But this is interesting to me because the first shots are of the mobile home park I lived in Pacific Palisades. It's the Palisades Mobile Home Park. This was before they put in the pool, and like newer houses, obviously. So I can't remember when that park opened, but it was just such a surprise when I watched that. I don't even know why I watched that, but to see the park just right there, it was amazing. And now it's a little bittersweet because that whole park was burned down in the fires in January. All my old neighbors' homes are gone. Mine was already gone. Last time I visited, it had been replaced. I sold it. They just like take the house. I didn't own it anymore, but they had replaced it with a new one. So my house did not get burned, but that whole park is gone. So that was just personally interesting to me. Also, maybe I can put a link to this also in the description. I have 2 links that I shared on my Instagram. If you're interested in donating to 2 of my old neighbors there, they're probably still accepting donations because like nobody in the Palisades had enough insurance to cover their homes, especially in the mobile home park. This is like low income people who have lived there for years. They're old mobile homes. I don't know what everyone's doing. And right now, the only thing I've been able to do is donate to 2 friends. And I can share those links below if you feel like, helping out a little bit. At some point, I'm hoping to find a way to do more because that was my old neighborhood, the whole Palisades. I lived there for a long time with my ex in a house in the Alfred Streets, which is gone now. Anyway, links below. I'll figure that out later if I can figure out some way we can help people there. I know it's been a couple months, but they can't rebuild. So October 5th, sorry for the detour, police vice squad officers raid dressing rooms during concert intermission at Music Hall in Houston, Texas. I just thought this was weird, and I hope we don't go this crazy again in the US. They arrest musicians Illinois Jacquette and Dizzy Gillespie for playing dice games, and singer Ella Fitzgerald and her assistant for allowing it. They're whisked to the police station, pay their fines, and return to the venue to play second act. Just like the way things are going in America. Good luck, guys. December 1st, Rosa Parks is arrested for refusing to move to the back of a bus and give her seat to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama. Again, I hope we're not returning to this, but I have seen news stories about the all-white neighborhoods being built again. Anyway, so I made a bit of a note about what is really relevant to our author. This is not something I am that familiar with, and I tried to read up on it, but it's just a lot. I didn't want to bore you with it. You can look it up if you want to know more. The Mau Mau Rebellion was taking place in Kenya from 1952 to 1960, so it's right in the middle of this. I asked AI to summarize, but 1955, Kenya was in the midst of the Mau Mau uprising, a violent conflict against British colonial rule, primarily fueled by land grievances and Kikuyu desire for independence. The British government responded with a state of emergency, implementing mass detentions, forced villagization, and military crackdowns. This period was marked by human rights abuses on both sides, including torture, summary executions, and poor conditions in detention camps. So this was going on while she was there. She mentions like one group of people like getting arrested for something, but that's about it. She doesn't really talk about this thing. And from what I read, there were like Africans on both sides of the issue. So I think this is going to take a little more than 15 minutes of research to really understand. So I'm just going to leave it there, let you know that there was a conflict going on. So it's been a little while since I've read this diary. Gotta get into this handwriting. It's a little sketchy. I will do my best. So, Kenya holiday, 1955, June 2nd. Left home at 7:30. It was a very nice warm morning and everything seemed to go well. We reached the airport in excellent time. I was feeling just a bit worked up at such a long journey. We were called to go to plane, so I said goodbye to Daddy for a while and wandered through the customs. So I feel like she is a younger woman. So I would just, my guess, under 30, maybe even 25, 20, call him Daddy. There were about 20 people on the plane, not full, and I had a seat to myself rather far back. But it was good in some ways because I could get a good view without the propellers being in the way. I'm not sure. The start off did not seem to worry me. I was on the wrong side for Daddy to see me. And also, we were such a long way off higher. We were such a long way off. You know how diaries are. All sorts of sketching. We gradually climbed higher and higher. It's really nicer. It's really marvelous. We very soon had a cup of coffee on the plane. It seemed to me at first as if we were just crawling along, but of course we were not. We saw Lake Geneva, which was a marvelous blue. Crossing the Alps was also most impressive. The snow looked so white on the mountains. The Italian coast was so lovely, and such a blue something. A family of husband, wife, and child were also going to Nairobi. The husband had been before, so he kindly pointed out a few things to me. We stopped at Rome. Before we got to Rome, though, we had lunch. Then we were, I can't quite make this out, but escorted to a restaurant and offered more drink and biscuits. I think it's the worst part. You seem to be eating and drinking all the time. Why is that the worst part? And some of the drinks are not nice. Cold coffee, for instance. We reached Nairobi about 20 minutes before time. The last stop we had was at, it looks like it starts with an E, but I don't know what the name of this town is. It was very warm there and some lovely country all around. Nice to stay, but hot. John met me at Nairobi, and in about 10 minutes we were away from the airport, maybe? Airport? He had his car outside. I made Pompey's acquaintance. He is a lovely dog and so marvelously trained. We came through the India Quarter. It looked to me, at a very quick glance, so slovenly, untidy. That was my first impression. I shall be going into Nairobi next week. We are so far from anywhere. It's difficult to get anything, no shops. We reached the bungalow where John is staying, about 12:45. I had a wash, then soon after 1 o'clock we had lunch. I felt very tired. By this time, and had a feeling I was in the plane. John quickly showed me around this very lovely garden, which is so wonderful, I think. I had to go then and have a seat. I soon found a bed and went straight off to sleep. I felt much better after that. We had a quiet evening. I got to bed about 10 o'clock. The dogs wakened me during the night. We have 3 dogs here, so if one starts to bark, they all bark. I find they are I don't know, 7:30 a.m. one of the servants brought me a cup of tea at 7:30. We had breakfast at 8:15. John then went to work and on the way put me down at Barbara Simpkins, a nearby neighbor. She's very young, has a baby. So many words she kind of went over again. I don't know if she corrected it or what. And honestly, like, the handwriting looks a little different. I don't know. She must have edited this at some point. She's very young and had a baby. Alone, about 5 weeks old, I think. We spent the morning together, and when baby was put to sleep, we walked around the house and garden. Again, a very lovely garden. Not so nice as this one. The dam at the bottom of the garden here makes it so lovely and attractive. We got back for lunch about 1:15. Roger came in, and after lunch, Roger had to go something. John wanted to go to the factory, so I went with him, and we saw the factory, only the outside. Also, John's own bungalow. It's too near the factory to be very nice, but you could have a lovely garden there. This evening, the Lorrymans are coming to see us. I expect it will be a late night. June 4th. The Lorrymans came about 7 o'clock. We had dinner and spent a very happy evening. I sat reading whilst the others played cards. They left at 11 o'clock. June 5th, we got up about 9 o'clock. We are waiting for Roger to come for breakfast. I have been for a nice walk in the garden. I thought I might see Mount Kenza. It might be Mount Kenya. I did not find a Kenza, but there was a Mount Kenya. So I don't know. But it's so misty. There's about 3 acres of garden here. It's the lovely colors of the flower that interest me so much. I can see through it though it's rather late in the season for the sunshine. So far it has not been very hot. The day I arrived, it was the hottest. June 6th, Monday morning. I must go back to Sunday, June 5th. We had breakfast about 9 o'clock. In the middle of it, a neighbor called in to see if her dog, a Scotty, was here, I think. She found him and took him away after having a cup of coffee with us. We finished our breakfast and then got ready to go to the Lorrymans. We had to take some of Roger's cups, saucers, plates, knives, forks, as they had not got enough. We were going to be a big party for the lunch, 8 of us, and 9 with the baby, 4 months old. Was it weeks, she had said before? I don't know. The drive to the Lorrymans, who live the other side of Nairobi, was most interesting. First of all, leaving this house, we go through the coffee estate. It's most interesting watching the different types of natives. They all dress differently according to their tribe. The funniest sight was seeing them on bicycle. Some have a passenger on the bar of the bicycle. We saw a good many in English clothes. The Lorrymans entertain a group of boys every Sunday, or a young boy every Sunday. He goes to a boarding school called Prince of Wales. So the Prince of Wales School is no longer called the Prince of Wales School. Now it's just called the Nairobi School. It's a secondary school in Nairobi. It's one of Kenya's 112 national schools. It was founded in 1902 by the British settlers who made Nairobi their home after the construction of the Uganda Railway. In 1925, it was separated into a senior boys' school, the Prince of Wales School, and the senior girls' school, the Kenya High School, and a junior school, Nairobi Primary School. In 1931, the boys' secondary school was moved to a 600-acre allotment in the Kabete area, leaving the girls behind with the primary school pupils. So, let's see, the original idea for the name of the boys' school was Kabete Boys Secondary School, but the first headmaster, Captain Bertram W. L. Nicholson, thought this to be too clumsy, and therefore the name Prince of Wales School. Following Kenya's independence, it was renamed Nairobi School in 1965. That sentence is a little weird, but yeah, so it's not named the Prince of Wales School anymore, but the school itself is still there. It was pointed out to me on our way to the Lorrymans as we went along a very nice road called Prince Elizabeth Highway. I think it should be Princess Elizabeth Highway because it was named after Princess Elizabeth. It was the first dual carriageway in Nairobi. Now it is Uhuru Highway. I am so sorry for my pronunciation. So I think she means Princess Elizabeth Highway. They have out here something about like ours at home, and beautiful shrubs, flowers. I'm told though that the native will pull the plants up and also will take the cat's eye and make beads of them. Are we talking about like cats? Or there's a plant named cat's eye. I might look that up. Ooh. I hope there's a plant. We passed on the way to the Lorrymans several important buildings, government houses, churches, a cathedral, which is not used at all. We also passed the theater, which we shall be going to next Friday. We passed some very nice houses, hotels, and a military hospital. Still, we have not really seen Nairobi. We passed by it. We passed it. We what? We bypassed it? We gradually got into nicer wooded country, and we arrived at the Lorrymans. The houses here have the people's names on a white post. We went up a nice long drive with gorgeous flowers and shrubs, marvelous rock plants I have never seen before. The bungalow is smaller than the bungalow where we are staying, but it was very attractive. The wood-polished floors are beautiful here, and in all the bungalows I have so far visited, the fireplaces are made of stone, and in the evenings they have wood burning. It does not seem to be cold enough for me to have a fire, but they all seem to find it cold in the evening. We got to the Lorrimans about 12 o'clock. Mr. Lorriman, Laurie, had gone to fetch the young boy, Derek, from school. It was about 40 minutes over from their house. Away? Over? I don't know. Jenny, our hostess, showed me around the garden, whilst John and Roger went down to the tennis something, it's kind of scratched out, for a game before lunch. Derek by this time had arrived, so he went with them. Laurie also brought Honor and the baby. The husband, Bill, arrived later in the afternoon. He had been away on business for a few days. We had an excellent lunch about 1:30. After that, we all went down to the tennis ground. Oh, was it ground? No. I sat in a shady corner, hoping to get a few letters written, but I was not very successful. We all enjoyed ourselves and got back to a cup of tea about 5 o'clock. We had supper later on when they played cards, and we all broke up the party about 9:30. We reached home at 10:45 and were soon in bed. One of the dogs wakened me during the night. I can't quite make this out. Got off to sleep again, but dreamt over new house being built at something green. Dreamt our new house was nearly up, and it was so near to a church the bells kept me awake. Bill, Honor's husband, I think, had a large American car, maybe? So we all went in it and took Derek back to school. It's a little confusing at the end there, sorry. So now June 6th. John has just got back from work for breakfast, 8:30. Roger had his also, as he wanted to be off to Nairobi early. Him and John have gone back to work. He has left Pompeii, I don't know if it's Pompeii or Pompey, behind with me. I cannot say he is very happy, though, at being left here. He follows John everywhere. It's a brilliant sunny morning. I am sitting in the window seat in the lounge writing. It might be England looking out in the garden, but a sound, not a sound, but the birds and patters of feet near the house. The horseboy, cook, gardener have a hut behind the bungalow where they live. A family of natives are not far from here, and I have seen the baby on mother's back and all the little ones toddling behind. They beam at you, but so far I have not got any words to say to them. Today I shall spend it here, amusing myself whilst the boys are at work. It has been a wonderful sunny day with a gentle breeze. It's hard to I can't make it out. We are too high up. John and Roger got back about 5 o'clock. After tea, they took me in the car to see a wonderful view. It was called Rift Valley. A good many terroirs now settle amongst the very wooded part. It was very wild looking on our left, and you could see for miles across the country, and the mountain looked beautiful. It was almost like looking from the plain. We got back about 7 o'clock, just before dark. Dinner was about 8:15. We then had a lazy evening until 10 o'clock when we went to bed. The houseboy, after they have waited on us and done the necessary, go to their own quarters, which are at the back of the house. When we go to bed, we lock up our part. They knock for the key about 6:30 a.m. I had a thought, and I wonder if John might be her brother. It's worth a look. I think I will see if I can find a John Green who might have lived in Kenya, Nairobi, this time. It's worth a shot. I don't know. They don't seem romantically involved, and she calls it a holiday. John seems to live there. Maybe. I don't know. It's June, it looks like June 1st, but it's probably June 9th. Why does it look like a 1? But that's June 8th. It must be 7th. Yeah, because the last one was June 6th, so. It is not such a sunny morning. I am hoping to go across to Barbara's this morning. I have not got to Nairobi yet. I am waiting until someone called Liz can take me. I believe we shall spend the whole day there. It has been a perfectly lovely day again. I went across to Barbara's after breakfast. We attended to baby and then sat in the garden most of the morning. It's a nice holiday. It was so peaceful and lovely. Barbara is very nice. I left about 1 o'clock. Roger called for me. We came back and John was waiting for us. We all had lunch, scrumptious. I think I must be enjoying it because I never have any idea what is coming. Also, I have nothing to prepare. After the boys went back to work, I set to and wrote a few letters and had a read. I then took the dogs for a short walk. The boys came home about 5 o'clock. We all had tea and then we chatted a bit. We then decided it would be very nice to go for a walk. We went to the farm, maybe, and saw some of the cows. That makes sense. Also a calf born last night. We saw Mount Kenya, like this time it does look like Kenya, more clearly tonight. We walked through some of the coffee plantations. It is all most interesting. We saw 2, how do we pronounce this? Balearica cranes, not very near. It's a bird. Found a picture. Just don't know how to pronounce that. And now we're on to June 8th. Another perfectly heavenly day. John went back to work, as usual, after we had breakfast. Roger asked me if I would care to go around the coffee estate, I think. I found it most interesting. We came across several Africans working, some young mothers with babies on back. We went in some lovely valley and saw houses and small villages. I have so enjoyed it all. Now I am sitting in the garden until lunchtime. I have seen some lovely birds which I have never come across before. One bird had a tail about 2 inches in length. And on the head a crown, I think. Another one was something like our yellow hammer. This afternoon I shall read... We shall read what? I'm not sure. As it is going to be very hot. I went for a short walk before breakfast with Heather, little Scotty. We have 4 dogs here. John's Pompey, Roger's Alsatian, Heather's Scotty, and another dog who will something in the evening who will sit in the evening as close to the fire as he can get. He sits quite close to it in the hearth. His name is, oh no, I do not know. Starts with an S. One evening, I really was quite scared. It really looked as if he was coming down the chimney. Okay, I'm gonna end that here today. It's a bit short, but I'm just kind of tired. So we will continue on over on my Buy Me a Coffee if you're interested in hearing more about her trip to Kenya and my investigation into who this woman is. I will go see if there's a John Green. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe I'll solve this. But yeah, I hope to see you over in the club. And I also scan these diaries and I share them over there on Buy Me a Coffee, usually for $5 each, so that if anyone wants it for research or wants to follow along or just wants to read it on their own, it's there. I charge for it because it takes a lot of time sometimes to scan these. The ones that don't take as long I put for a little less, but they can take a couple hours to scan these diaries. And again, I still also want to keep funding for the collection and protection of the diaries, and also just kind of keep them a little safer. I know some people share these things free online on their websites and everything, but I don't know, I'm a little protective of them, and I just want to make sure the people who are accessing the diaries and in the videos are, I don't know, more respectful about it, or they really care. So this is just my way of kind of gatekeeping. So hope to see you over there. This is an interesting one. It's the only one I have, I think, written in Africa. I love finding diaries that are a bit different, you know? So here we are in Kenya. So hope to see you there next week. Bye.